Mr. Huie, please begin when you are ready.
Chairman Vela, Ranking Member Thompson, members of this subcommittee, thank you for this opportunity to be here. As Mr. Vela so aptly said, I'm a farmer and rancher, and together with my wife Shambrin and our 3 children, we live near Beeville, Texas, and farm and ranch in 5 counties of the Coastal Bend. I'm honored to be Mr. Vela's guest. He so ably represents the 34th District where I live, and appreciate him being the chairman of this subcommittee. I'm honored and humbled to be in this room and with you as the ag leaders following such great traditions. And I know what ag policy does, and I appreciate the opportunity to be here. Along those lines, I'd be remiss if I didn't recognize the extraordinary leadership of Chairman Peterson, who I've known a long time and appreciate everything that he has done and continues to do for agriculture, and also Mr. Conaway, and the work they did in completing the 2018 Farm Bill, which serves as the groundwork for policy and production agriculture. Mr. Chairman, this hearing is timed so well because of all the things that you talked about in your opening. I've got written testimony that's long and drawn out. I'm going to try to shorten that to 3 things here to be quick. One is the farm economy in the Coastal Bend of Texas is lousy. It is bad. 2018 was not a good production year. That was compounded by the fact that despite a great MFP program by the administration, it only paid on production, so if you didn't have production, it did not pay. I'm hopeful that that can be addressed here. 2018 follows tariff issues from trade disputes, which drove the price of crop insurance down and therefore erodes the safety net as we work toward what our ability is to borrow and other things. For 2019, we look here at likely negative cash flows again, unless we make an extraordinarily large crop, because we don't have a price market where we can get that done, and we've got enormous exposure based on the value dropping in crop insurance. Despite crop insurance being a great tool, when you have a systemic decline in price, we have a systemic decline in what we're able to insure. The stakes have never been higher than they are right now. I didn't live through the 80s. I did, but I was a very young man. I did live through the 90s. That was when I started farming. It was miserable, but I was so young I didn't know better. And my wife and I, she worked in town as a banker, and we managed to sneak by those first few years starting in 1998 and making it through 2002. 2002, we barely got by. We had to move banks. We had to do a lot of different things. It's part of the reason I'm here today. I understand how important farm policy is, and I appreciate Washington stepping in those times and helping us, because that's how we survived. Historically, when we've seen moves like we have now, where you have a decline in price, you also have a decline, although slower, in input costs. That has not been the case in this current environment. Input costs have continued to rise. The rest of the economy is doing well. So as our input costs have risen due to tariffs, due to industry consolidation, due to all other things in the economy booming, we're still trying to sell stuff for the same price we sold stuff for 30 or 40 years ago. None of our input costs reflect that. Third, I want to be clear that I think additional action will be required from this committee, from this Congress, and from this administration. I think if the tariff war, trade war ends tomorrow, this dispute will not be resolved. These prices, the bins are full, the warehouses are full. There's not a system in place to move that stuff out. We've got a world glut of grain. Everything about history would tell us that this will not be resolved tomorrow. There are things that are on the table right now in terms of disaster talk about making some corrections to MFP. That language exists here in the committee. We're hopeful that that can move forward. And I think we need to be talking loudly about another MFP type program, whether it's done through the administration or through this committee. But there are some things about that program that need to be made more equitable as we move forward. Mr. Chairman, again, the farm economy is complex. Trade policy, labor, ultimately this comes down to farm profitability. And that is where this committee has excelled in the past. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I appreciate the opportunity to visit with you about this. Thank you.